guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought it would be a good idea to have a series on my channel called Bomb Talk. Just talking about things that kind of pertain to my life as a young adult. I was going to say teenager, I'm not a teenager. Yeah, just things that pertain to my life as a young adult trying to maneuver through the world. If there's any topics that you guys want me to talk about, just let me know down in the comments and I will touch on what I can touch on. I'm not going to speak on anything that I haven't been through. And give it a thumbs up if you like the idea of a Bomb Talks series. So for the first, what do you call it, episode? The first episode, video, entry, whatever. This is the first one. For the first episode, I want to talk about my post-grad experience. Ooh. So I graduated from undergrad last May, so in May 2016, from Winston-Salem State University, and I graduated with a BS in healthcare management. So let's rewind to before graduation. For our major, we had to do an internship in our last semester. So my last semester, I did an internship with the Ronald McDonald House. I didn't really see myself in nonprofit, but I did like the experience. So while I was doing my internship, I was applying for jobs. I didn't really know what I was looking for. I was applying to like hospitals. I was just applying to anything that looked like I could do it. So in the midst of me applying to jobs, I also applied for the Disney internship program, and I actually got accepted into the Disney internship program. But you have to pay a fee of like $500 to even get into the program, and then I just kind of outweighed like the pros and the cons. And for me personally, the cons outweigh the pros, so I passed on that opportunity. Fast forward a little bit, I got another job opportunity, but I don't even remember what it was for. It was like in April, so like a month before graduation, I got another job offer. It wasn't like a corporate job. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I wasn't really feeling it, so I passed that up as well. So that was in May. So that was in April. So fast forward to May, I still don't have a job. Yikes. I graduated in May, still didn't have a job. So here I am, a graduate, no job, not really sure what my next move is going to be. And when I graduated, when I tell you, the number one question that I was asked was, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? I didn't know what I was going to do next. So I was just telling people whatever came into mind. I was like, oh, I'm going to go work, or oh, I'm going to go to school. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew school was not in the cards for me. It just wasn't in my cards at that time. A lot of people asked me what I was going to do next, and it really stressed me out just because I didn't know what I was going to do next, and I want people to stop asking me that. It wasn't coming from a malicious place from people, but I don't think people realize the stress you feel in your last semester of senior year. How greater the stress becomes once you graduate and your plan isn't going how you thought it was going to be. I thought that when I graduated, I was going to be out of my mom's house, I was going to have a salary, I was going to be doing big things as soon as I graduated. No, okay? They say God laughs at our plans. God was keying with me, okay? So here I am, post-grad, don't have a job, my plan is not going the way I saw it going. And so that kind of made me fall into like a depression in a sense. And I don't use the word depression lightly because I know that is a serious illness for some people. But I don't know if you have heard of the term post-grad depression. I personally feel like that's a real thing because I feel like that's exactly what I went through. I specifically remember telling one of my friends, like, I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I was feeling so down. Like, I can't even put into words how bad I was feeling because I felt like a failure because this plan that I had was not going the way I planned. Everybody was asking me what I was going to do next, and I didn't have an answer for them. So that made me feel even worse that I didn't know what I was doing. I had a part-time job that I could go back to, but I didn't want to go back to that. That wasn't in my plan. I had a part-time job that I could go back to, so I just took time off from not working. And my mom was like, when are you going to go back to work? And I'm just like, I have the rest of my life to work. Like, there's no more school, so it's not a summer break anymore. So when I start working, like, that's the rest of my life. So I'm just like, let me take this time off and try to get my life in order. So I think I took a month off from working just because, yeah, I felt embarrassed going back to work in my part-time job. And I'm not shading my part-time job because it was a good job. It just wasn't where I wanted to be. It wasn't for me, I felt at that time. Like, I felt like I had surpassed that job, but it was my only option. And so I finally went back to work. And when I got back to work, my manager was like, "You don't want to be here, do you?" And I was like, "No, I don't." But I mean, I couldn't just sit in my mom's house not doing anything. Even getting up and going to work, I still felt a little bit of depression because, again, I just wasn't doing what I had expected to be doing. I expected to be out of my mom's house. I was still in my mom's house. I expected to have a salary. I was still working for wages. It just was not the plan that I had. So I realized, I said, you know what? God is trying to break me down. So I said, you know what, God, if you're going to break me down, we're going to work together to build me back up. What I started doing to help myself, appreciate where I was in life, I realized I had to focus on what I did have instead of what I didn't have. I did have a job. It wasn't the job that I wanted, but I did have a job. So I wasn't out here just broke. So I had to be appreciative of that. So again, God wanted to break me down. So I said, okay, you know what, God, we're going to work together to build me back up. So what I started doing, I started writing in a prayer journal. It's literally exactly what it sounds like. A journal where you write down your prayers. All I would do, I would write the date because I knew that once I put my prayers in this book, that I was going to be specific in my prayers, and I knew that God was going to work for me. I didn't write in it every night, but just when I was really feeling like super, super low, I would write in my prayer journal. I would write the date, and I would just write my prayers. Sometimes it would be like in a paragraph format, but I remember one time specifically that I just got straight to the point with God. I said, you know what? No more beating around the bush. I'm going to write specifically exactly what I want. And that's exactly what I wrote. I wrote specifically what I wanted. I can't remember everything that I wrote down. That specific prayer journal is still at my mom's house. I don't have it here with me. But I know that I wrote down, like, I wanted a job that I could, take care of myself, and I wanted to be happy, and just some other things because I wasn't happy. Period, point blank. I just wasn't happy with where my life was at. I try to keep being faithful. Try to keep being faithful. And I don't speak from a place of like somebody who is like this God warrior, because I still myself am working on my relationship with God, and I don't feel like I have all the answers. I'm just letting you know what I did and how I got through my hard times. So yeah, I just kind of remained faithful with my prayer journal. I also started reading a daily devotional. The one I read specifically was called Girlfriends and God, and it would just come to my email. If I woke up early enough before work, I would read it before work, or I'd read it before I go to bed. But I just made sure to just get that. I just made sure to get that a different form of the word into my spirit. So again, I remain faithful with writing in my prayer journal, reading my devotional, saying my actual prayers, going to church, just working with God to build me back up. I guess I couldn't have been back in my part-time job that long because in late July, I got a call for the job that I have right now. And God's honest truth, I do not remember applying for the job. People always ask me, how did I find this job? I don't know. I don't remember. I was pretty aware of the job that I was applying to just because I didn't want to be applying for just any old random job. So I don't know how I found the job. God placed it in my lap. That's all I can say, because I don't remember applying. I don't even remember finding my company's name coming across the job listings that I was seeing. So end of July or middle of July, someone from a job board site that was recruiting for my job reached out to me. I did a phone interview with her. That was a little iffy just because I ain't gonna lie to you now. The phone interview I did wasn't that good because first of all, I was nervous. It was like my first real big interview. I was kind of nervous, and the lady wasn't giving me any energy. Not saying that she had to, but it wasn't working. But I mean, she even let me know. She was like, you do need to work on your interview skills a little bit more, but I'm gonna let you go to the next interview. So I was like, okay, cool. So I flew to Kansas City like secretly. My mom wanted me to like tell people. I was like, no, we're not telling anybody because if I don't get this job, I don't want people asking me, why didn't you get a job? What happened with this job? No. So I made her like swear to secrecy. She ended up telling some lady at her job. I'm just like, Mom, I thought we said we was keeping this on the hush hush, or whatever. She's like, I know, but I was just so excited. I just had to tell. Okay, girl. Flew to Kansas City like secretly. I think my friends knew, but it wasn't like I didn't tweet about it and talk about it on social media. I don't even think my grandma knew. I think my mom and my friends were the only one that knew. I didn't really want to make a big deal about it because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I didn't want to broadcast this and not have good results. So I flew to Kansas City on a Friday. I don't remember the exact day, but I had the interview for my job. And then I flew back like right after the interview was over. Fast forward, when I was at my interview, I had made connections with some of the people that were in my interview group, and some of the people that I was talking to, they were getting callbacks, like letting them know if they got the job. And I'm just like, well, dang, did I not get the job? But I didn't really feel as bad because another girl that I was talking to, she hadn't heard anything back either. So eventually, I was like in the mall doing something. The interview was late July. By this time it was like 2 weeks later, so it was like mid-August. I got a call, and she let me know that I got the job. I was like, oh yay, woohoo! I'm no longer, unemployed. So I got the job, and that was in the middle of August. I signed all the paperwork that I needed to sign. In September, my mom and I flew here to come find an apartment. In October, my mom and I drove from North Carolina to Missouri for me to start my new life in the working world. It's so weird because I really have a for real job. Like, I got a real job. I feel weird because, like, what am I, 24? So now I currently work at a healthcare IT company, and I am a consultant for them. I just wanted to share my post-grad journey just to let others who recently graduated or graduated a year ago, 2 years ago, and they still haven't found a job, do not give up. Keep on working at it. You don't always make it the first try. I mean, I'm glad that I got my job as quick as I did, but I also had to learn. I couldn't look at what everybody else was doing. And I realized that was what was making me feel, that was also attributing to me feeling down, was me looking at my friends who were in their jobs, making their money. Here I am still not making any progression in my eyes because I'm looking at what somebody else is doing. That's a big mistake. Do not watch what anybody else is doing. Your journey is yours specifically. It's made for you. So you cannot compare your journey to somebody else's, because just because they're at step number 8 does not mean they're happy at step number 8. So you could be at step number 2 and you're overjoyed at step number 2. So you just cannot compare your journey to anybody else. Please, please, please stay faithful. I would have to say that's my number one thing. You may not believe in God, and that's fine, but just, remain faithful to your journey and trust that you were trained and you learned enough from your university to take with you and apply it elsewhere. Your time is going to come. It's not coming when you want it to, but it's going to come. And for those of you who are watching this and you've already graduated and you're already in a job and you know somebody else who's graduating, check on them. Ask them how they're doing. Text them right now and ask them how they're doing. Because when I graduated, I would have loved for somebody just to check on my well-being instead of everybody asking me what was I going to do next. So if you know somebody who just recently graduated or somebody who graduated a year ago and they're still not, progressing, just check on them and ask them how they're doing. Well, that's all I have for this episode of Bomb Talks. Like I said before, you guys, let me know how you like this Bomb Talks and if you like the idea of Bomb Talks. Give me a thumbs up. That'll let me know that you guys like this idea, and let me know down in the comments some things you want me to talk about. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.